Hello and welcome and the Lord's blessings. I'm going to talk today about something that's really upsetting. LA has changed the way they're dealing with homeless people who reside in their vehicles, and they're doing it, of course, under the guise of helping, which, whenever the government wants to help you, it's not helpful. And let me tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, your new program it's not helpful. I had a friend the other week got a ticket for sleeping in his car, and I'm like, what? And it's an area that I used to sleep about. I would spend 6 nights a week there on average for several months. And the other year I left for a while, left LA, left California. And when I got back, I was talking to a guy I know, and he's like, hey, an LA judge ruled that, it's not illegal to sleep in your car anymore. I'm like, that's great. He's like, yeah, it's awesome. And this town took their sign down that said, no sleeping in your vehicle. And I'm like, this is great. And things changed, and I didn't spend as much time in that town. I was averaging 1 night a week. 1 night versus 6. Never had an issue when I was there 6 nights a week. One night, it became problematic. And I was woken up at 3 a.m. Sheriff loved, cops love the 3 a.m. hour. Woken up and was told, get gone. And I told them why I was in town, and what, I was there, I was asleep now, I was going to wake up in the morning in 3 hours and go get a bite to eat and get on with my day. And the new homeless aren't really doing that. They put cement under the tires and they just don't move, and it's like, what the hell are you thinking? Oh my gosh. But I'm old school homeless. And I respect the community I'm in. And but yeah, so I left, and it was a piss off because on my way out of town there had to be 15 ratty ass vans and RVs, and it's like, seriously, you're having a hissy fit over my vehicle, which is in A, smaller, taking up way less room than these other vehicles, and 2, way newer and in way better shape than any of these other vehicles. And but yeah, the other week my friend got a ticket in the same town, and I called the LAPD, and I was told they're under they've been advised not to wake people up. I said, that's great. But he said, being that where that is, you need to call the sheriff, because it's LA County, but it's not LA City. So I called them. I called the sheriff. And she didn't want to talk to me whatsoever. She's just like, we're just here to enforce rules, talk to City Hall. And I went online and I was looking through things, and I came across an article from this month, February 2017. Sorry about that. And it says the mayor, who I will be contacting, and this is what they sort of bank on, because homeless, it is a whole swath of people, and it's usually people who have been ripped down and apart. They're like dust. They don't have the oomph to talk back, and some of them, whether it's just life has been rough, or they've had a rough childhood and they went through foster care, because you're far more likely to be homeless if you're in foster care, or they have health issues, whether it's mental or physical. I mean, you're really beaten down by this point. And not too many people will speak up, which I know I talked to one homeless friend, and he's like, because I'm like, we need to band together the other year, because this started ramping up with the anti-homeless, big time, in news reports, magazines that only deal with top end Hollywood stuff are running. He showed me, it was a 6-page article. I'm like, what is that doing in there? He's like, my question exactly. This isn't what this report's on. Why are we in it? And it's upsetting. And it's upsetting. And this article I read today, they're waking people up and ticketing them to, quote, get them in touch with these homeless help groups, which AKA are hate groups, and which is just asinine. I don't need to be ticketed to get in touch with any. Ticketing me does not help. Waking me up in the middle of the night does not help at all. How would you like it if I came to your house at 3 a.m. and started banging on your door? It's not pleasant. And these groups and the cops, they know exactly who we are and where we're at. And I don't put cement under my tires. But I know people who, I mean, this one area, which I like the best, which I don't go to all that often anymore because of certain issues, but I know guys here who have been literally parking here since 2010 every day, and they've never been approached by a homeless help organization. Never once. These groups will go out and talk to the street homeless, but they will not, you know, approach us. They will not put a flyer under our windshield wiper at all. There are so many better ways to get in contact with us than to harass us at our most vulnerable state. And when you're asleep, you're at your most vulnerable state. This is so incredibly inappropriate. And it's really inappropriate when you look at the numbers. The article mentioned, and it's, what was it, on the website Curbed, mentioned this big crisis of homeless and how the homeless must be eradicated constitute 7,000 people estimated in LA living in their vehicles. 7,000 people. Now let's compare that to the estimated illegal population of nearly 3 million people in LA alone. LA alone. 3 million illegals not paying into the system, creating massive gridlock on our roads, suffocating and stifling our court systems, our medical system, our education system, housing system. These people, a lot of them will take their money, and don't tell me I don't know, because I know illegals and I talk to illegals. They will undercut, especially contractors, they'll undercut other contractors because they're not, you know, insured. And then they take most of that money and send it to another nation to help their economic system. And yet, somehow, in your mind, I'm the enemy. I'm not the enemy. I and people like me are not the enemy. I am your fellow citizen. You should be having my back. Just think about it. 3 million people. What would LA look like? What would the roads look like with 3 million less people? The road system would actually work properly, because with the money we're getting, it would support the amount of people we have. There's a reason why we're having issues. It's because we have 3 million extra people. Now, take 7,000 people off the road. You're not going to notice a difference. Which group is the crisis group? And the kicker is, I can actually get out of my car and sleep legally on a sidewalk. Should we go that route? Should I get a couple pit bulls and just crash out for 12 hours a night? Is that the route you really want to go? I prefer being locked up in my car away from you, and you locked out away from me. But hey, I mean, I don't mind a couple dogs. I really don't think that's the option. And I'm not the enemy. I'm not pounding on your door. I'm not going in your house. I'm not on your property. And you know what? When I get my measly little $20 a day disability check, which 2 thumbs up to the government, there's a whopping 3% increase this year, and the entire 3% went to medical. I didn't see a dime. You know, would have been cool to have 50 cents more a day to spend. But yeah, I put every dime I get back into America. The 3 million don't. Why am I seen as the crisis, the problem, and the enemy? Let me tell you, I am not the enemy. And I'd like to know when one of you, any of you, will stand up and have our backs. I remember that poem, or it reminds me the situation of that poem from after World War II. It's a Protestant pastor, and it's like, you know, they came for the socialists, but I didn't speak up because I'm not one of them. And they came for that other group, but I didn't speak up because I'm not part of that group either. Then they came for the Jews. I'm not a Jew. I didn't speak up. Minded my own business. And then they came for me. And there's no one to speak up. I may be unacceptable now, but who's to say that the time's coming where you won't be unacceptable? Just the other year, Jennifer Aniston made an announcement crying about these new houses going up in Bel Air because these rich Middle East people are coming with all their oil money. And her 8,000 square foot house now looks like a shack because these people are coming in and building mega mansions, 60 to 100,000 square feet. Who's to say you won't be next? You won't be inappropriate. I'm not hurting anyone. It's absolutely inappropriate to screw with me at night. It's absolutely inappropriate to see me as the enemy. I am not the enemy. Lord have mercy.